Usually, workplace rivalries mean like passive-aggressive emails or someone swiping your yogurt.
Right. Annoying, but, mundane.
Exactly. But in Sally Thorne's 2016 romance, The Hating Game, that mundane friction is just dialed up to a total fever pitch. So, welcome to today's deep dive. We're unpacking the exact psychological mechanics of Lucy and Joshua's dynamic for you.
Taking them from toxic coworkers to this massive emotional breakthrough.
Right, and we're going to see why this specific enemies to lovers trope actually works so well.
Well, the foundation of this trope relies entirely on making that initial hatred believable. I mean, we have Lucy Hutton, who uses this fierce organization as a shield, and Joshua Templeman, who operates with this breezy, untouchable privilege.
Yeah, and they're co-executive assistants at Paramount Books.
Right, sitting directly across from each other all day, every single day.
They aren't just annoyed by each other. Their entire worldviews inherently clash. It's an obsessive need for control colliding with apparent spontaneity.
Oh, absolutely.
They're essentially two apex predators forced to share the exact same small corporate cage.
That structural setup is just so crucial.
Yeah.
Because they're forced into this tiny corporate environment, and they're competing for the exact same promotion.
Right, a totally zero-sum game.
Exactly. So they weaponize their proximity, they track each other's habits, they sabotage projects, and just bicker endlessly. But the intense friction of trying to break each other down requires paying an exhaustive amount of attention to the other person.
Which makes me question the core premise of the rivalry. Like, was it ever actually hate?
Wow.
Because even in Chapter 1, Lucy knows the exact color of Joshua's shirts and his hyper-specific coffee orders. You don't dedicate that much mental RAM to someone you truly despise.
No, you really don't.
Right. Hate implies a desire to avoid. They are doing the exact opposite.
That's the secret engine of this book, I think. It reframes hypercriticism as hyperattention. Psychologically speaking, hate and love are often just, well, different flavors of obsession.
Oh, wow, that makes so much sense.
Yeah, the only thing that changes is the intent. Because they share a desk and later they share a hotel room on a forced business trip, their professional boundaries just start to buckle under the weight of all that physical proximity.
Because they've memorized all those obsessive details, so they can't pretend not to notice when the other is actually hurting.
Exactly. The sharp banter they use as a defensive shield starts doing double duty.
Right, it shifts. Like fighting as foreplay.
Yes. It goes from cutting insults to rapid-fire flirtation almost by accident. That level of sustained attention naturally breeds intimacy. The banter breaks down because the hyperattention accidentally creates empathy.
And that brings us to the actual core of the narrative, right? The idea of authenticity versus facades. Because proximity eventually just exhausts their defenses.
It does. Lucy eventually discovers the intense legacy and the immense pressure that Joshua's wealthy family puts on him.
So she realizes his arrogant, privileged exterior isn't real. It's just a mask to hide his insecurities.
Right, and understanding that mechanism is what changes everything. I mean, Lucy uses her meticulous perfectionism as armor. But when she sees Joshua's vulnerability...
When she realizes he's wearing armor, too.
Exactly. It gives her the psychological permission to drop her own.
That explains why the intimacy scenes hit so incredibly hard. It's not just a physical payoff after hundreds of pages of tension.
No, it's highly emotional.
When Joshua drops that confident facade and reveals he genuinely cares, it allows Lucy to just let go of her desperate need for control. She's letting herself be vulnerable because the emotional power dynamic has finally neutralized.
And they figure out they don't have to choose between career ambition and a personal connection. The trope works so beautifully here because it proves that true intimacy is just finding the person who pays close enough attention to see past your armor.
If you ever had a hyper-competitive rival, you know exactly how exhausting it is to keep your defenses up 24/7. The payoff in The Hating Game is so satisfying because it channels all that exhausting friction into mutual vulnerability.
It really is a masterclass in the enemies to lovers progression.
Absolutely. So I'll leave you with this to ponder. How often does the intense friction you feel with a rival actually stem from recognizing parts of your own hidden vulnerabilities reflected right back at you?